But yeah, so basically, this is the man behind all these brands. I'm sure if you stay around Sesheke, I'm sure you've come across either one of them. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thanks a lot for having me.
Alright, sure. Now let's just start by you introducing yourself and telling people exactly who you are and anything else that you'd like whoever is watching this to know about you.
Okay, my name is Matthews Chivunda, as some of you might already know. Yeah, basically, I'm a simple guy. I'm an entrepreneur, like you said. I own some businesses, as you already mentioned. Yeah, basically a simple guy with dreams.
Alright, so let's just start off by asking what really inspired you to start running, or what really got you interested in entrepreneurship?
All right. So basically, I think it's something that has always been in me, right? It's something that I've always thought about, but somehow because of school, I was always kind of into academics, and I never really paid attention towards businesses and entrepreneurship, right? And it was only when I started working after college, I was employed in formal employment. Then I realized that the salary was not enough, right? And that's when I started running around, some other businesses. I started ordering merchandise and clothes from places like Tanzania, China, trying to raise some money, right? But then I had to realize that, okay, if I just depend on the salary, the money will never be enough. Therefore, I had to do something else in order for me to secure some sources of income. And like always, it's never easy. I tried some other businesses, they wouldn't work out. And then, yeah, I just kept on pushing. And then I realized that actually before the Forex thing, I was actually into the fitness. I was actually the boutique, started selling clothes. Then I included barbershop, which is something I was passionate about. Even though I have no hair, trust me, I'm passionate about the barber industry because I've always wanted to look fresh, but I never had a place where I would actually get a good haircut. And I was always cut the wrong way. And I thought, like, I like this. Let me try to also incorporate it. I started cutting from home. And then eventually came here in Sesheke. I was like, I think let me just start an executive barbershop. And that's how we came up with the M&F Executive Barbershop. And then right now we actually have two branches open right now and running. So yeah, basically that's how it is.
All right, obviously when you're starting a business, there are some challenges that one faces. What would you say was the most challenging thing you encountered on your way to being an entrepreneur?
Well, entrepreneurship in itself is actually defined as the process of identifying a gap and then risking your own capital to actually with hope for a profit, right? So it's always about identifying a gap and then trying to risk your money in order to gain a profit. So it's rooted in problem solving and also facing problems. So just like everyone else, we all face different challenges that comes maybe due to lack of capital, challenges that can come in terms of maybe finding your clientele. So there are a lot of challenges that we face as entrepreneurs, and also personally myself, there's a lot of challenges, like maybe in terms of for example, capital is also very, very important. It becomes very difficult to actually get enough capital to fund your project. You might have ideas, for example, like this barbershop issue, I had the idea for some time. However, I wasn't able to execute this idea because I had no capital, right? So for almost like 2 years, the idea was always there until I had some funds. I was like, okay, wait a minute, what did I want to do? okay, I had these two ideas. Okay, let me start the suit business, right? Then we started ordering suits. We ordered some suits just to have some in stock so that people can actually have a look when they want to order one. And then when I had some money again, I was like, okay, now let me invest in something that I've always wanted to do, which is the barbershop industry. We launched our first barbershop here in Sesheke, and then yeah, it was because at that particular time I had some funds which were enough for me to actually secure a place and then also order quality stuff for me to actually start. Otherwise, I sat on that idea for almost 2 years because I had no capital to actually launch the business. So capital is one of the most difficulties that many entrepreneurs are facing out there, and it will remain one of the biggest challenges. I think that for me, that's the number one challenge that I had in terms of starting my entrepreneurship journey. And then, fortunately for me, for example, for our first barbershop, we didn't struggle much in terms of marketing because I'm quite good at that. We marketed our barbershop really well, such that in our first month of opening, we had over 246 people that came through just to have their haircuts and other services, which was pretty good for the first month, and we managed to go break even and above actually in our first month, which was really good. So capital was a hindering factor for us starting. So, and I'm sure that's going to be a complaint with many of the entrepreneurs that you're going to ask most likely.
Yeah. Well, that's some good insight. Now let's talk about people that are in formal employment. In Zambia, we have this mentality that unless you're employed by the government, you're not really going to be financially free. So what do you have to say? What's your comment when it comes to people that think like that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's the common mindset. Most of us in formal employment are usually very reluctant to actually pursue entrepreneurship or start any business because most of us become complacent because we're getting a salary which is fixed and you don't have to do anything else, right? However, unfortunately, that mindset has caused much more harm than good, right? Because you end up, someone will end up retiring without doing really anything else, and then they start waiting on the pension, which is very unfortunate. However, business, it may be hard, it may be very hard, but it's actually better because it gives you that extra potential of you actually earning extra income, which you can do something with that, right? So someone said it's most people think business or entrepreneurship is risky, right? But what is riskier? Risking your money for 5 years and with the high potential of you becoming successful, right? Or working for 45 years and still remaining broke. Which one is riskier between the two? For me, I feel pursuing entrepreneurship with the risk of not being able to make it, but with that always there is always that potential of you actually making it big as long as you do your due diligence, you do your research before investing in any business. There's always that potential of you actually making it. However, if you just work a 9 to 5 and earn that secure income and wait for your pension, trust me, there are a lot of people who ended up retiring with having done nothing, literally. So the best is you can work a job, but find something that you can do outside your job, right? We're all talented in different ways. We're all good at different things. So find your thing. And once you found that particular thing that you're good at, and try to make money out of it. Make so much money such that it gives you time to actually quit your job at some point. Don't just quit your job, of course, but make sure you find your dream. Make sure that you get paid from your dream. And once you're able to make like maybe 3-4 times the amount of money you're making from your salary, and you have 6 months to a year of your daily income, daily expenses, then you can possibly think of quitting your job. But most people, of course, they think that I will just maybe work for, like, start my business in 6 months, I'll be able to leave my job. That's very unlikely, and most people end up going back to their job because of that. So for me, my advice to anyone that has a 9 to 5 is to make sure that use the 9 to 5 to fund your dream, fund your side hustle using your 9 to 5, so that eventually you can actually leave your 9 to 5 and to make your side hustle a full-time business, which has huge return, as you've seen from history and statistics just. So make sure that you don't just become complacent and just forget about starting a business. It's risky, but the risk is worth it. However, if you don't take the risk, you're going to remain where you are, which is very, very bad. So please, everyone out there, I know not everyone is an entrepreneur, but if you can, really try to find a business you can do, which I know that everyone has an idea, but the problem is that we are so scared of failure, therefore we remain where we are. So that's my comment on entrepreneurship and the 9 to 5.
Yes, there are some people that have this idea that not everyone can be an entrepreneurship. They might have different reasons why they think like that. Do you believe anyone can be a business person?
That's an interesting question. There's been debates about whether entrepreneurs are either made or they are born. They are born entrepreneurs. I mean, that's a debatable subject, because I know that entrepreneurship is not easy, right? It's not easy, but I feel like it's teachable. Just like no one was really born to be formally employed by the government, right? We all learned. We went through our secondary. Starting from primary, went through secondary. We went to college for us to work, like. But I believe that we are all born with something within us. We are all born with something within us, and if we can sacrifice all that time to just get employed by the government or by the private institution, I believe you can also use that time to learn. I believe no one is born empty. We all have something we are passionate about. Even though you might be a teacher, you might be a police officer, but that's not what you are born to be. There is something that you have within you, there's something that you're passionate about, and that you can actually utilize and make money from that. No one can tell me, I don't believe that there's someone who can tell me like, I'm not good at anything. Like, there's nothing that I'm thinking of doing. My whole mind has just been about trying to be a clinical officer or trying to be this profession. I don't think there's something like that. All that is conditioning. It's what we call classical conditioning. But inwardly, there's always something that we were meant to be, right? So, and one thing is that you will never be satisfied. You will never achieve contentment if you don't chase that dream. Because on your dying bed, those dreams are going to be there, and they are going to tell you, hey, you didn't pursue me, I'd have made you more money. Most likely, because any job, I believe that if you follow your dreams, if you really follow your dream, you will make much more money than you ever make from your job. And that's what I believe. And I believe everyone has that in them. The problem is that most people are conditioned to work for the 9 to 5. They've been conditioned to do that since childhood. So it's very difficult for them to think otherwise. And most people are too scared to take a risk.
Just
However,
on that, so
yeah.
how do we overcome that? How does one stop being scared to try out something?
Yeah, of course, that will depend with the people that you spend your time with, right? So they say you are a sum of the 5 people that you spend your time around with, right? So if, of course, you are spending time with everyone that's just thinking about the 9 to 5, just maybe going to school, going to upgrade, you're always going to think like that. So if you want to attract, and there's the law of attraction, right? If you want to attract a certain job, if you want to attract something, you have to associate with people who think that way. If you associate yourself with people who are talking about personal development, if you are sitting with people who are talking about finding ways to make extra money, trust me, you are going to find a way of you getting motivated and trying to do your own thing. If you spend the time around people who are talking about ice cream, how to make ice cream, how to process it, and then how to store it, even by mistake, if someone asks you about ice cream, you're going to have something to talk about the ice cream, because you've spent time around people who talk about that. It's the same thing with money. It's the same thing about business. It's the same thing with formal employment. If your five closest friends that you have, you're always talking about your 9 to 5, you're going to upgrade, you trying to climb the corporate ladder, trust me, that's what you're going to know. But if you spend around time with people who are talking about developing as a business person, entrepreneurship, starting their own business, trust me, most likely you're going to have those ideas embedded in you, and then you are most likely going to start a business. And it's very unlikely that you can't think of anything. We all have something within us, and the problem is that you are just too scared to start that business. And unfortunately, that's what keeps you where you are. And if you don't change your environment, trust me, you will remain where you are. And when you retire, it's going to be very sad, because others would have achieved their dreams, and you're going to be waiting for your pension, and they're going to tell you wait for 3 more years. And guess what? Before that happens, you might even die because of stress and other things. So it's better to actually take the risk, and who knows, you might just become the next millionaire.
Alright, well, thank you very much for that timely advice. I think a lot of us are going to find this helpful. Thank you very much for coming through.
Alright, cheers my guy, and continue doing the good work. We are seeing what you're doing. Keep on pushing. Definitely more people need to actually see more people need to get motivated from doing something like this. And also, you, of course, this is not your formal thing, but you are doing it, right? You, that by setting an example, that mean that if you are in this formal employment, that's what you're meant to be. I don't believe that that's what you're meant to be. There's something that within you that causes you to do what you do, because that's what you are. You're inclined to do that because that's part of who you are. And your former job is just someone out there who thought maybe this is the right thing for you to do. So my advice is that everyone out there, there is something within you, and don't be scared to pursue it. Guess what? If you pursue that, there's a high chance that you are going to make it. Of course, if you have to do the work. It's not easy, of course. You have to put in work and really, really work hard. Than most likely your job. And when you do that, there's a high chance of you making it. But if you become complacent and just think, okay, I'm okay at my job, I'm going to wait until I retire and then get my pension, that's a really, really sad way of thinking. And when you die today, no one is going to inherit those degrees. No one is going to inherit those diplomas. But if you invest in a business and become successful, if I die today, someone is going to inherit my businesses, because these are inheritable. Unlike a degree or a master's, all those things, when immediately you die, they are gone, they become useless. And that's really, really sad. And we need to talk much about that, because it's really, really sad to think about that. Yeah. So, and also just one thing before you go. Imagine, right? For example, you have a diploma and your salary is, let's say, 7,000. And if you upgrade, the chances are that maybe they're just going to add you maybe a 3,000 on top for you to get a salary of a degree officer, right? But if you invest that money that you have, instead of you, like, let's say, upgrading, going to school, invest that money in your dreams, in a business, there's a higher chance that there's going to be a higher return of you making much more money from a business than you making the 3,000 that's going to get from your job, which is likely going to take several years before you get to be upgraded to that. So my advice is that please find something within you and pursue that, and trust me, it's going to make you much more money than if you just forgot about your dreams and just went to school, upgraded and all that. So that's my advice to everyone out there.